Welcome back to the Hail W Show. Hunter, Nate, Hanson. Hanson joins us this time for the first time on camera. Just glad to have him here for this week's episode. I guess Penn State post game.
Episode number 20.
It is episode number 20, show number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we're going to talk about here, we're going to give you a little thoughts and analysis on the Penn State game and get right out of that right into next week because, you know, the sun came up on Sunday morning like it always does, and now it's Thursday night, and we're still here.
Yeah.
So.
And the Mountaineers will play football this weekend.
And the Mountaineers play football this weekend, which is always good. So, fellas, what do you say? Little week 1 thoughts.
You know, I think they weren't ready to play. And we talked about them being ready to play all week last week, and it just looked like they weren't ready to play. I mean, the first drive, I think we won the toss. We elected to receive, and we got 1 first down, and then we had to punt the ball away. And you kind of knew that was trouble from the start there, because usually Neil Brown's first drive leads to points. It's more often than not. So that was kind of concerning, and we were right to be concerned because we only scored 1 touchdown the whole game.
Yeah. I think it's completely fair to say that both offenses were a bit shook for the entirety of the first quarter.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was necessarily our defense. I think it was a little Penn State miscues on offense for them. The one play that was kind of a momentum changer was that fumble. Drew Aller fumbled inside of their offensive zone,
inside their 30.
Yeah, around the 30, and then the very next play, we run a motion and something happens and we botch the snap. Yeah, and
he tries to pick it up.
They get it right back, and that was. And I was at the game, and you kind of everyone was excited. I think there was a TV timeout after that fumble because they ended up reviewing it for whatever reason, and everyone was excited, and then the fumble just came, and we're just kind of like, here we go again. You know what I mean? We've seen this record how many times, or we've played this record how many times? Yeah. So it's just
both teams definitely you could absolutely tell. Crazy environment, first of all, crazy environment. You could easily tell both teams were, can I say, terrified?
Yeah.
I mean, you were at the game, but on TV,
I think it showed one of Penn State's coaches kind of shaking too.
Yeah, they put him on the on the freaking broadcast.
Yeah, the guy had the play sheet. He was shaking,
and
the lights were too bright, and we were playing at high noon. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree.
I think it was just sloppy too, both sides in the first quarter especially. But the thing is, we never got better.
No, Penn State did get better.
Penn State settled in and did what Penn State does. They dominate against teams that aren't Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the point of my opener here. I mean, fans, not saying, actually probably a lot of viewers watching this we're in the same boat. Maybe calm down now. I know emotions run high immediately after things.
Saturday was bad.
I watched the game. I saw Twitter was just ridiculous, and some people putting out tweets that were
a lot of overreactions. Yeah,
I even replied to somebody on the Hail W account.
Yeah,
they were just talking crazy, man. It's crazy stuff. I'm just like, I think I literally quote unquote was get it together.
Yeah,
get it together, man. It's Penn State, week 1, number 8 Penn State at that. So
and in the world of college football in its current state, that loss has no effect on your season. It has no effect on your season. You win the conference, more than likely you will be in the college football playoffs.
And I'd like to say this too. As far as everyone may not like what we're talking about here. It's a big game. We're just kind of blowing it off like we're supposed to lose. Yeah, we were supposed to lose that game. We weren't favorites, and obviously the underdogs. And it sucks to me just as much as it sucks to everybody else to lose by 20-plus at home to Penn State.
Yeah.
Big hype. And don't get me wrong. I know Pat McAfee was there.
Pat White.
Pat White was there. Big noon kickoff.
Yeah,
the school shut down. Did they not shut down classes Friday?
Yeah, the schools in Mongolia County shut down.
Don't get me wrong. I know what the stakes were, and I understand. But at the same time, you have to be realistic in today's day and age. And I heard Tony Cariti's podcast talking about how many guys on West Virginia would start on Penn State.
Yeah.
And then how many guys on Penn State would start on this West Virginia football team.
It
Just puts it into perspective for you. So
it's a gap of talent, but we kind of
no. At the same time, there was a
excuse.
lot of unforced errors.
Yes.
It wasn't Penn State beating us; we were beating ourselves. And
don't get me wrong; it's no excuse at all. But
we had to play a close to perfect game, and we were not even close. I think if West Virginia played, not even just limit some of their mistakes, I think we had a chance. But just mistake after mistake, you can't do that against good teams, and that's what bit us in the butt there.
Well, I'll definitely tell you what, can't dwell on it now.
No,
0-1,
it's over.
0-1 for the 5th consecutive year at least, right?
4th, I believe, but it's not
it-
any better.
no,
It's
it
not
don't
really any
matter.
better.
It don't matter.
No.
And
Hosting Albany this weekend.
can I go back for a second? We
Quickly,
talked about
you can,
this. We need to stop scheduling these games week 1. Can we schedule an
I completely
FCS
agree.
school week
I
1,
completely
please?
It's stupid.
Can we schedule a group of 5 team or an FCS school week 1? We've played Power 5 opponents for the past 4 years?
I think
Granted, we probably should have won 2 or 3 of those
I
that we
agree,
lost,
yeah.
but still, just let us get a tune-up game first, like
Yeah.
every other Power Conference team has. So, I don't know. That's my little rant for opening week.
It's very fair because I believe the Caridi crew, you want to call them that?
Yeah,
They were talking about
without using their name for
the Caridi crew. Believe they were talking about that on their podcast right after the game.
Yeah.
Listen to a little bit of that.
And I think
They were talking about you could play. They were talking about you could play one Power 5 and
Yeah.
we're playing 2 out of your first 3 games. Penn State, Pitt. Penn
And
State, Pitt.
and it may have mattered back when we had a 4-team playoff, but with the 12-team playoff landscape,
It don't matter
really
now.
does not matter
There's
who
no
you
point.
play.
It just hurts you now.
Yeah, which obviously when they were making the schedules back then, and this isn't Ren Baker's doing. This is still Shane Lyons scheduling for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Ren is getting away from playing these games where we're going to get killed. I think we're still hopefully going to play Pitt.
Yeah.
FCS school, and then maybe like a MAC or a group of 5 school. So that would be, I'm looking forward to those years where we can start maybe 3-0.
It's just not Penn State.
Yeah.
I'll ask you guys now. We went over Penn State thoughts. Give me a grade on how the team performed on Saturday. Give me a grade. Start with you, Nate.
D,
What?
just
That's more?
because, I don't know, you can kind of it just felt like, I'm not saying they didn't, it just kind of felt like there was no energy. I don't know. It's just a D for me. I think the only bright spot was a couple catches made by the wide receivers and special teams. Michael Hayes had a couple good kicks. Like, that's really it. I mean, not many bright spots, honestly. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Handsome.
The team as a whole, guys, I'm gonna F. I don't think
F.
I don't think we're gonna play much worse the rest of the year.
That is true.
It can't play any worse the rest of the year. That was the worst West Virginia team I've seen, except versus Houston, probably. And even then, some plays were made. I know Houston's not Penn State, but still, that's the worst performance I've seen
I'll go.
long time.
I'll go D plus.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
It's a failing grade.
I just don't see how it could get worse.
No, it won't. That's probably the worst game that we'll see all year. I hope it is, but
Yeah.
only up from here.
Next we'll go. Got another question for you guys here. We'll go to Hanson first. Hayden, what did we learn Saturday, and how can we adjust for the rest of the year?
I learned that if Garrett Green stays in the pocket and throws, it's a losing plan. It's a bad formula for Victor. He's not a pocket passer. He needs to roll out.
Yeah.
He get Garrett in space and he can make plays, but he's not a pocket passer.
I think we learned that the play calling is still questionable. I mean, there was some fourth down plays just kind of left you scratching your head, and I don't know. There was just very little, like what Hansen said. There's very little movement in the outside the pocket for Garrett Green. I don't know if it's the play call, but I think if we
I think it absolutely had
incorporated more rollout passes or something to get him going, and then maybe you can keep him in the pocket to make passes, but you got to get him some confidence first.
I agree.
And I don't think he ever got to that point where he felt
had one
confident.
rushing yard.
Yeah.
Big point of Penn State's attack was definitely keep Garrett in the pocket, but you can always.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to know that as the coaching staff that they're going to want to keep your mobile quarterback in the pocket.
Yeah.
So, how can we adjust? Hayden says get Garrett in space. Sounds like Nate get Garrett in space as well.
Yeah. Get Garrett in space and maybe get some better fourth down play calls.
Better
Play calling for sure could be a little better. You need to sneak it with your.
I don't know if we
5'10"
should
quarterback.
really get discouraged. I know there was a lot of talk about the offense. I don't think we should necessarily get discouraged. I think that's the best defense that we're going to play all year.
Oh, without a doubt.
But the fact that it was just that bad on
We
offense
looked so
is
flat.
concerning.
We looked
Yes.
terrible.
It was concerning, but I still have faith. I'm not going to throw in the towel after one game. It's just, if we get against a good team, are we going to fold like we did last Saturday? So
If we play like that against any other team,
pretty much any of the
rest
Big
our
12
schedule,
schools, yeah.
any Big 12 school, we are going to lose.
Yeah.
So,
Well, here's my last thing from Penn State. There's not
Yeah, and
much
I
we
think-
can do now, so the only thing, fellas,
You can only play the games in front of you. I think a wise person once told me.
a wise person once told me that the past is past and the present is present. So, and the future is also awaits the Mountaineers, which is Albany.
Yeah.
Number 16 FCS football program we've got coming to Morgantown this Saturday. Last week, I should say 1-0 Albany, because last week Albany beat LIU 27-21.
Yeah.
6-point win.
Albany's definitely not, a pushover team. We saw there's been some FCS teams. There was one that won, and then there's a couple FCS teams who've played some Power 4 opponents pretty closely in North Dakota State, and then Texas Tech almost got upset by Abilene Christian, just a 2-point conversion away in overtime. So I think you definitely can't take them lightly. I don't think they are taking them lightly, but you definitely can't. You can't start flat. You can't give them any momentum. Just crush them from the start, and I think if you do that, you can win by 30 and 40 points, something like that. But you can't give them anything in the beginning because they're going to roll off that. So
Get the team's confidence back up is what I'd like to see this week.
yeah,
Have fun, man. You know what I mean? Last week was you lost, but it wasn't even fun.
I think
it wasn't fun. Okay, I'm not going to get back.
let's
on
get
Penn
the
State.
let's get the the Garrett for Heisman hype. Let's get all this hype. Let's just put it on the back burner for now and just play football.
Let's play football.
You know what I mean? Just all
It's my favorite
this
saying. I agree.
off the field stuff. Let's just play football,
Let's play football.
and then we can worry about that later. I still think he has a chance, but he's got to perform a lot better. So
Got to agree. Got to be ready, like you said, Nate. It's perfect. Got to be ready. Can't get lost in the noise. I really think.
I think they did this.
I think they exactly what I was getting ready to say. Lost in the noise. Lost in the outside talk of. And we were wrong. I mean, we were wrong. We said Garrett was ready for this. We said Neil was ready for this.
Yeah.
I mean, they were not ready for this.
I think it seems any time that West Virginia, and this may just be a coincidence, but anytime they seem to get a little bit of national, relevancy, they kind of underperform. I don't know if that's
It's been that way as long as I've been alive.
I think I like us as the underdogs. Get us out of the spotlight for a little bit. Let us do our thing. We'll win a couple games. Let's go into Big 12 play 2-1, and then let's go into the bye week 3-1 with a win against Kansas. And that is very possible. I still believe it's going to happen.
I agree.
So
I think that's it for Albany. I'm not sure how much you can preview there, but I do have some things here that I want to say before.
Oh, let's talk about it real quick. It's going to be a gold rush game. So if you're going to the game, wear gold. I think they're wearing the banana suits.
Gold.
Yep.
Go for gold.
Yeah, they're wearing.
Go for a good time. Go for gold.
Yes, go for
right.
gold.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's move on, huh?
Okay. We've got here what I would like to see this week against Albany.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and give you 3 things. You just sit there and listen.
Okay. Easy enough.
Defense, we have talked about this. Defense needs to limit big plays. Number 1. Number 2, we'd like to see, at least this is what I put, I would love to see, when Gallagher touched the ball Saturday and when Farmer touched the ball Saturday, or Darius Farmer, Day Farmer.
Mm-hmm.
It looks different, man.
Yeah.
Those guys, you're not tackling those guys on the first defender's not tackling those guys. I just don't really understand not trying to get those guys into space more, and no shots at Traylon Ray, Nate's guy here. Why are we throwing screens to Traylon Ray when you could throw them to shiftier, smaller, faster guys? One more thing, and I think this is obvious. Well, I guess I could give you two more things here. Wide receivers, they caught balls. They caught balls other than a Jaden Bray drop and a few others. But there was not hardly any separation.
No. I think you need to give credit to the Penn State secondary there. I think they're really good. And like I said, that's the best team we're going to play. Or on defense, at least, all year. So,
last thing we'd like to see this week against Albany. And I know it's kind of different each and every time we play an FCS opponent, but the play calling was just really bad last week, and you'd like to see some improvement.
You could definitely open up the play calling, I think, against an FCS school because there's not as much pressure.
I feel like we say this all the time about play calling, but as much as we like Neil Brown, and I think as of right now in our current state of the program, Neil's our guy, no doubt about it. Neil's the guy
we gotta trust him going forward.
Say what you want, Neil built the hype that we had last week.
Yeah,
Neil, he built that. So, say what you want, but he's our guy for now. So
we gotta rock with him.
We do. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
We don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. So I think that's what we'd like to see against Albany.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. I want to see Jaheim get some more touches, and I know Neil.
I think he got hurt.
I think Neil touched on that too. He's going to get him more touches going forward.
He did. I was shocked. Shocked he came back into the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, when did he go out? Second quarter?
Around there.
Really? Well, I mean, he did have 4 hour halftime. So, but I mean, just was really shocked he even came back in the game, and by the time he comes back in the game's over.
And I'll say this. I was kind of disappointed with the rushing game against Penn State. I know we moved on, but I think we need to address that a little bit. We were hyping up the rush game, and it was just not as good as you would have liked.
No.
So,
last thing I've got here, fellas, we've got follower questions.
Oh,
Make sure
okay.
you follow us on Instagram at HailWV, HA.
And we might just answer your question.
LWV on Instagram. Here we go. Put this out a couple hours ago, so not that many questions, but we've got, not sure I could say this, but Braden Whittington, if you're watching this.
Hey, hello. Thanks for the question.
It's not necessarily a question, but a comment.
Oh, okay.
Braden Whittington says
Oh.
he will not be watching any more Mountaineer football games if we lose to Pitt.
Okay.
That's
You
not
know
what he said.
you're lying. Yeah.
No, that's not what he said.
Oh.
That's what he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
He won't be
he's
watching.
lying.
He won't be able to watch anymore.
Okay. So he's lying because he's still gonna watch him.
Okay.
I hope you're lying.
Okay. Honestly, though, if he's wrong, like if he's not wrong and we lose to Pitt, you're 1-2.
Yeah.
Pitt's a big game now that you lose Penn State.
Yes. It was
That's
always a
if
big
we
game.
beat UAlbany.
Yeah.
We got a question
We
here
played
from
'em.
Big Sandy 123.
Okay.
Says, "Hey fellas, big fan of the show. Was wondering how am I supposed to keep hope alive within the Mountaineer football program?"
Well, I think, one, Garrett Green's your quarterback.
Brother, I couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah.
How can you not have hope when Garrett Green is playing quarterback?
Yeah, exactly. He's led us to some great wins over this past years. We just got to trust him.
Question from H. Cow here. Thoughts on Neil Brown?
He's the man for
Oh
right
wait,
now.
that's
think
not
we
that's
just
not from
touched-
H. Cow. That's
I think we just
That's
touched
a
on
question
Neil Brown.
from Paul Walton. Thoughts on Neil Brown? Like I said, I think I already touched on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's our guy. You know, we can't do anything
Like,
about
He's
it
our
now.
guy. We can't
Just-
change it. So.
Exactly, like I was saying, and I think this puts it perfect. The hype we had not even a week ago, do people not understand, was built by Neil Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, literally every guy that's in the program right now is Neil's guy.
Yeah.
I understand. It's not been the greatest couple years, and I think I saw somebody else say that. I've never seen a coach at West Virginia have more losses, but still with the program and still as much trust behind him, and he's still around.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hate to say this, but Neil has been through a lot within the upcoming of NIL.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about it. 2019, when he got here, the transfer portal wasn't huge. It
wasn't
really
as
wasn't
big, no.
huge. He's had to deal with a lot, and I think he's handled it fairly well. Now, I'm not saying, being 500 through 6 seasons is amazing by any means, but it most certainly could be worse, guys. So,
Yeah.
he's our guy. He got us here to where the hype was and where the hype still is going into the rest of the season. So, not sure what else. Not sure what else you can say. I mean, that's our coach right now, and it's going to be the coach the rest of the year at least. So, got another question here from TLI05. WVU end of season record plus breakout players. Let's split that up into two here.
Okay.
End of season record. Nate, what do you got?
Still 9-3. I'd flip that. We made a prediction. I'd flip that last game. I think Texas Tech's a win now. I think still 9-3. So.
I'm gonna say 9-3 too.
It's good guesses. I'd have to go. I think I'm right there with you guys. However, I'm probably gonna go 8-4.
And that's fair too. So.
8-4.
I could see that too.
8-4. 3 more losses. And that just about sums it up for the questions. I probably should have put that out there longer. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you send those in. HailWV on Instagram.
We will try to answer them.
We will definitely try to answer them. Only 4 this week,
Yeah.
but better than none. So I thank you guys for that. So that's the end of the West Virginia Mountaineers segment of the podcast. Now we're going to get into our segment here we've been doing for the last year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
College football pick'ems. Nate,
fine.
after first week,
It's my jam.
8-5. I,
not
myself,
his jam.
Hunter, 10-3. My partner, Hanson, also 10-3. Let's start with game number 1 of week 2.
I think you forgot reigning champion.
Oh,
Reigning champion right here.
reigning champ, Nate, is in dead last.
Your past don't matter.
He's in dead last. So, Texas at Michigan, fellas. It looks like it's a Longhorn sweep.
Let's go.
Mhm.
Arkansas at Oklahoma State.
Ollie Gordon.
Is,
I also have Ollie Gordon.
and I also picked Ollie Gordon. Georgia Tech at Syracuse.
I took Syracuse.
Yeah, we went Georgia Tech. Hayden went Syracuse.
That's a bad pick.
I don't really have any,
Georgia Tech is going to win the football game.
Okay. Now, this is one the crowd, if you're still listening, may not like, and this is also not betting advice, especially Nate's picks are not betting advice.
I won last year, just
Pitt
so you know.
at Cincinnati. We'll start off with the champ. Who'd you go with here? Why don't you tell the people who you went with?
I went with Pitt. Pittsburgh Panthers.
Guys,
Also, that
the
sank
two
in
guys
for a
here
second.
with common sense went with Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
You know,
All right, let's
Obvious
come back to that
reasons.
after. Let's come back to that next week.
This guy's rooting for Pittsburgh, by the way.
Pitt fanatic,
Say
I
that.
just thought I'd put that out there.
Did not say that.
Steeler fan,
Did not say that.
Penguin fan.
I'm a Penguins fan. Panthers.
All right, let's move on.
All right.
Yeah.
Iowa State at Iowa. The Cy-Hawk battle.
Give me the Cyclones, huh?
Give me the Hawkeyes.
Could be the Hawkeyes.
Kansas at Illinois. Looks like it's a Jayhawk sweep.
Mm.
Tennessee at NC State. Hayden, go ahead and say it with me. Looks like it's a Rocky Top.
Sweep.
Thank you. Next, Colorado at Nebraska. It's not a sweep.
I took Nebraska.
I took Nebraska. I didn't like
Something
what I saw
tells
from
me.
Colorado.
Something tells me Colorado's going to win this football game. And I am prone to be wrong a lot. A lot of the time I am wrong. But
Not betting advice.
it is also not betting advice.
Not betting advice.
Texas Tech at Washington State. And Nate, I wish I could say this was a sweep.
No.
I'm taking Wazoo.
Texas Tech for the educated people. Huh?
Texas Tech almost lost to Abilene Christian.
Mississippi State at Arizona State.
I took the Sun Devils.
I also took the Sun Devils.
I took Mississippi State. And this is betting advice.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
This
not
This
betting
guy is in
advice.
the hole.
Legally.
This guy is in the hole.
Legally, this can't be betting advice, huh?
Last one on the board, if I'm not mistaken,
That is
fellas.
the last one.
We've got the Baylor Bears at the Utah Utes.
Yes.
And I'd love for Hanson to help me out here. This is a Utah.
Sweep. I thought you were going to say Utes.
No, because we just wrote Utah. We didn't even put the Utes.
Okay.
So, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Episode 20. We will not be back next week as Hayden and I will not be in the state.
I'll probably do one by myself. So
So you guys got
a
Nate
little
next
special,
week.
huh?
That's perfect. Hayden and I will be out of town. Still watching the game though, as much as we can. But we'll be back the week after. So get excited for that. Shout out Big Sandy. You stayed as long as you did, I'm sure. We loved your question, brother.
Thank you.
As always, you got any more questions, send them in to the Hail the V Instagram account.
Mm-hmm.
At Hail the V on Instagram. Should be up on YouTube soon. This pod right here will be on wherever you get your podcast, it'll be up there.
Apple,
So,
Spotify podcast.
make sure to go ahead and check those out, guys. Thanks for listening. This has been the Hail WV Show. I'm Hunter. This is Nate. This is Hanson. As always, let's go Mountaineers.